While this is taking place, Brittney Griner comes out and says, I am so sick and tired of the WNBA. It used to be a peaceful, small little thing. Now there's crowds screaming, hollering. This is disruptive. It's not allowing us to play the game. This is her quote. I don't know if you saw this or not when she gave that.
Patrick Bet-David just dropped one of the harshest reality checks in podcast history. After Brittney Griner made bold remarks about Caitlin Clark and the racial undertones that sparked major conversation.
From 41. What the hell is going on with WNBA that they cannot handle all this attention that they're getting, as well as the hate and anger?
But PBD wasn't having it. He reminded Griner about her time in a Russian prison and completely shut down her complaints about fan noise. The response was absolutely ruthless. What was more satisfying, PBD calling out Griner's past, or him explaining why she should be thankful for any attention the WNBA receives?
I'd have fun with you. Brittney Griner, where she says, they're right there, watch this. Every time we play her, there's this commotion, like this loud rumbling from the stands. Turns out it's people, thousands of them, just sitting there watching.
Let's be completely honest about what went down on Patrick Bet-David's podcast. Brittney Griner just got hit with the reality check of her career. While she was complaining about crowd noise and throwing subtle comments about Caitlin Clark, PBD reminded her of some uncomfortable truths she seemed to forget during her time away from basketball. It all started with Griner's outrageous claim that the WNBA used to be so quiet you could bring a laptop and get work done during games. Think about that. A professional athlete upset that fans are too loud and too engaged at sporting events. The audacity is and it only gets worse when you consider the context of who's making these statements.
Used to be a chill, quiet place. You could bring your laptop and relax, maybe even get a little work done. But now, it's like there's large gatherings of people watching us from the stands. Some of them are yelling crazy shit about what they're seeing, putting unfair pressure on us to score, like we're there for their entertainment. You are! The whole thing is toxic. I saw a guy with his daughter in the crowd, both of them yelling, couldn't hear what they were saying. Exactly what it was, either my performance or some light racism.
Griner claimed that WNBA games used to be calm and quiet, but now the stands are filled with passionate fans making noise and reacting to what they see. She went on to complain about the pressure to perform, as if entertaining fans isn't part of professional sports. Here's the reality, Brittney. Entertaining the crowd is exactly what athletes are paid to do. The most troubling part of her comments came when she described seeing a father and daughter in the audience cheering and, without knowing what they were saying, assumed it was either criticism of her performance or light racism. The fact that her first thought went in that direction reveals a lot about her perspective. Patrick Bet-David didn't hold back in addressing this, pointing out that not long ago Griner was imprisoned in Russia on serious charges and had to be brought back through a prisoner exchange involving one of the world's most dangerous arms dealers. His response served as a much-needed reality check.
Brittney Griner was in a Russian prison. You would think that somebody who is now free, back in America on home soil, would not have too much to complain about. Especially something like this.
The prisoner exchange that brought Griner back to the U.S. involved trading Victor Bout, a man convicted of conspiracy to kill Americans and providing support to terrorist groups. That's the individual the U.S. government released in order to secure Brittney Griner's return.
It doesn't matter what sport you are. It doesn't matter what sport you pick. That's how fans act in every arena. In every arena. So, and then when you, clearly she's not remembering who they let out to get her back.
The Merchant of Death.
The Merchant of Death. An arms dealer that wanted to kill American citizens.
Her response to being free on American soil, playing the sport she loves in front of passionate fans, was to complain about crowd noise. PBD's point was harsh but completely valid. You'd expect someone who experienced imprisonment in a foreign country to have a very different perspective on freedom and opportunity. The fact that Griner sees fan enthusiasm as a disturbance, instead of motivation, shows just how out of touch she's become with reality and gratitude. The timing of these remarks makes them even more absurd. They came at the exact moment the WNBA is seeing historic growth, with the league projected to hit $1 billion valuation for the first time in its 25-year history. And let's be clear, that surge is almost entirely because of the attention Caitlin Clark has brought to women's basketball. That's what makes Griner's comments especially insulting. She's complaining about the very things, the crowds, the energy, the excitement that are directly raising revenue, improving TV deals, and increasing salaries for every player in the league. including herself. The racial undertones in Griner's remarks reveal the deeper issue some players have with Clark's rise. It isn't about skill or performance, it's about the uncomfortable truth that a young white player is getting the kind of mainstream spotlight that many black players haven't received, even after years of excellence. PBD addressed this head-on. Yes, rest likely plays a role in the attention Clark receives, but he also made it clear that Clark has the talent to justify the hype on her own. She finished 4th in MVP voting in just her second year, plays an exciting, TV-friendly style of basketball, and brings the competitive fire that draws in casual fans. Clip.
NBA says they want to get paid more. They're saying this year they're going to make $1 billion. That's what they're saying, okay? For the first time ever. Now that Caitlin Clark is hurt for 2 weeks, did you see ticket prices? Insane. Let me read you the ticket prices. After Caitlin Clark's been hurt for 2 weeks. All right? So let's go through this. Caitlin Clark absence is having an immediate impact beyond the court. According to data shared by Yahoo Sports via TickPick, prices for 2 specific Indiana Fever away games against the Chicago Sky and the Washington Mystics dropped sharply after Clark was sidelined. Before the injury, the lowest ticket available for Fever's matchup in Chicago was $86. For the game in Washington, fans needed at least $41 to get in. After the news of Clark's absence, those get-in prices fell to $25 from $86 and $14.
The ticket price data Patrick Bet David referenced on the podcast tells the entire story about who's really driving the WNBA's success. When Caitlin Clark went down with an injury, ticket prices for Fever games collapsed almost overnight. Chicago tickets dropped from $86 to $25, and Washington tickets fell from $41 to $14. Those aren't small changes. Those are market crashes that happen when the main attraction disappears. That context makes Griner's complaints about crowd noise even more absurd. For most of the league's first 24 years, WNBA games were played in near-empty arenas. Players were comfortable with that because there was no pressure, no expectations, and no accountability to paying customers. Clark's arrival changed everything. Suddenly, there's energy, excitement, and demand. The fact that Griner described the old WNBA as a place where you could bring your laptop and get work done perfectly explains why the league remained irrelevant for so long. Too many players treated games like casual scrimmages instead of professional entertainment that fans pay to see. That mentality is why the WNBA lost money for 25 straight years. PBD's response was effective because he didn't let Griner hide behind victimhood or racial grievances. He forced the conversation back to reality. She was rescued from international imprisonment, brought home through a high-stakes prisoner exchange, and now gets to play basketball in America during the most lucrative era in WNBA history. And yet, her reaction is to complain about fan enthusiasm. His comparison to other sports was devastating to her argument. In the NBA, NFL, MLB, and NHL, passionate fans and hostile crowds are part of the job. Athletes embrace that pressure. They don't ask for it to be toned down. Griner's mindset seems to be that WNBA players deserve the salaries, recognition, and platform of professional athletes without dealing with the expectations that come with them. But that's not how professional sports work anywhere in the world. The Russian prison angle PBD raised was especially brutal because it highlighted how tone-deaf her complaints really are. She experienced actual oppression, actual restrictions on her freedom, and serious consequences for her actions, yet now complains about American fans being too enthusiastic at basketball games. PBD also addressed the broader resentment some WNBA players feel toward Clark's rapid rise. He admitted it's natural for veterans to feel overlooked when someone new grabs a spotlight, but he reminded everyone this isn't unique to women's basketball. When transcendent stars emerge, the dynamic is always the same. Michael Jordan faced the same resentment in the NBA, so much so that the Detroit Pistons created the Jordan rules to physically and mentally wear him down. That backlash didn't exist because the media hyped Jordan artificially. It existed because his impact was undeniable. The same is true with Caitlin Clark today.
And she wreaks havoc. She's the rookie of the year. She's 4th in the league in MVP voting. 4th in the league, her rookie year.
Wow.
Outstanding. She's like Steph Curry. She can pull up from anywhere. You understand? She has that kind of capability. Didn't win a national championship. Lost to LSU one year, lost to South Carolina another year, but she's outstanding and clearly worthy of being the number 1 overall pick. And what I was saying to everybody is ride the wave. Rising tide lifts all boats. The girl is spectacular. It's not like she's not a scrub. She's not only can play, she's a star caliber player who draws this attention. And maybe it's because that fan base that she has and her being a young white lady.